And Pat, I get the sense that even you have that you're signed on to the idea of that which Tony offers at TrueEnergySolutions.com.
I think Tony's selling me on this.
Yeah?
I think he's selling me on this.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great information this morning, and I think I'm getting, I'm getting the feel that this is interesting stuff.
How do I go about having you come to my house? What's the procedure?
Normal procedure is people see us online, and there's a questionnaire on our website at www.trueenergysolutions.com, or you can call our office at 248-TRUE, 248-8783, and our secretary can mail you out all the package information with the application for Green Jobs Green New York, which then could be either forwarded back to us or directly sent into the state's Green Jobs Green New York audit office, and we'll get a registration number to guarantee you qualify for either free or your reduced price on the audit.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a long time coming. It took about 18 months going through the state to work out all the details between all the different groups that were putting their hands into the pot to try and mix it their way or the other.
Screw it up, yeah. We know.
Well, you're working with state organizations. You're working with
Yeah, we know.
unions.
Yeah.
You're working with labor departments and social justice organizations that are all trying to
Big
utilize
government.
whatever income they can get out of the program to their benefit.
Okay.
And they have to understand that in the end, it comes down to helping New York homeowners and making it work for contractors so we can actually get out there without putting 10 miles worth of red tape between every job.
Well, then I'll take a page from the Pat Coyne songbook then. This almost seems too good to be true.
Yes, and the same thing happens to us all the time at home shows. Is people aren't aware that even that the New York State Home Performance Program has been around for 9 years, and often when you tell them there's a free or paid energy audit, everyone says, "Well, I don't qualify for that. I make too much." And
What's the
without ever
catch?
looking into the details to find out there is no catch. There's no strings attached of having to do any work or not. So we're compensated already for spending the time and evaluating the house and putting it in modeling software and giving you a report to show you what your options are. From there on out, it's up to you if you decide you want to do any work or not, and then we can show you what incentives still are available through NYSERDA.
I mean, that was my question. How do you make your money?
Well, we're still our contracting firm, so if something makes sense and it's affordable for you and you can see that it's going to actually pay for itself, and if you had a comfort issue or a performance issue and you want to take care of it, we also handle that. So we handle the paperwork for getting the jobs approved, for getting any of the financing or cashback options available for you, and then we'll also test everything out when it's completed to justify the energy savings, verify the performance, redo the blower door test and the infrared scanning.
What a good idea. I mean, think about the recent influx of your RG&E bill and how people are going crazy. How am I going to pay my RG&E?
Yeah.
If you could have somebody come in and give you an energy audit and say, hey, I can save you money, who doesn't want to do that? Everybody wants to.
I agree. Speaking of performance issues, our boss, Jeff Haley, he had a lot of work done by you guys just a few months ago, right?
Yeah, he's very articulate. I heard the work was good.
Oh, right, he did.
Is that what that was?
The
His,
house,
it was
the house
good.
felt good.
that was his
felt
energy
good.
solution performance encapsulation.
His summary was it felt good. Huh?
They did good. Well, this is a ringing endorsement right there.
Yes.
So we could use him as his example to talk today about, his project was a big one, right? You guys did what?
Yeah, it was a fairly large project, and it's something that a lot of homeowners aren't aware of when you're buying in the city. Like we were saying in that earlier segment, housing stock around $65,000, great deal. There's a lot of value to the great, beautiful homes with woodwork, but they were all built prior to insulation in the houses. So in the mid-60s and 70s, they started doing some insulation work. Some have just did some work in the attics, some only in the bedrooms where people were staying. And but there's a large percentage of the housing stock with no insulation in it, and Jeff's was one of those homes. And,
No insulation whatsoever.
right. And like most homeowners, he started on the windows first, the things that weren't going to make all the energy savings, but they're for the aesthetics, maintenance, functioning value to the house. But now he can really feel the difference once we actually went in there and created a thermal and pressure envelope to encapsulate and hold his heat in the way he was trying to.
Okay. Did you go in when you did your audit? Did you go in and go, holy cow, this house is like no insulation, dude?
Well, no, I'm used to it. So
okay.
I do 1,500 audits a year myself. So it's something I see a
I
lot.
thought you were going to say, holy cow, this place is a dump.
Yeah, I was gonna, but I changed it, Steve. He's standing right over there.
Often we have the homeowners wondering that, saying, "Oh, is this the worst house ever? Is this the worst house ever? Should I just bulldoze it?" And I'm like, "No, It's very easy to fix most of the homes out there.
Do you find it's tougher to fix newer homes or older homes? Because you'd think, and I can see both sides here. Maybe the newer homes have the latest in insulation and the latest in all these aspects that make it energy efficient. But how do you see
newer
it?
homes may still have a lot of the inefficiencies, but because it is newer, they assume that it has all those issues. Unless they really start getting draftiness or cold floors, they think when things are done to code, it should be great. But code is the minimum level set by the EPA and the Department of Energy.
Yep.
So if they're not doing the air sealing, because airflow can account for 25 to 35% of your heating and cooling costs for excess airflow and humidity change in the house. So if they're not looking at what's going on with the house and they just figure, well, it's a newer home, it should be good, there can still be answers to their problems.
And think about how fast those housing tracks really go up. I mean, one minute it's, studs and nothing, and then the next minute there's a house there. I mean, there's definitely got to be, there's deadlines to meet and stuff.
Yeah. I've often had homeowners call me up to have an audit to say, I'm trying to sue the builder because my AC is too small.
Yeah.
Well, the AC was sized properly for the house. It's modeled properly if the insulation was working properly. But when things are in there to code and different products that are being used today don't have the same performance as others. So blown fiberglass products are very poor at retaining temperature and heat and humidity. So when you actually ventilate the attic to code, you actually depreciate the value of that insulation significantly.
What do you get?
I get it.
I'm a little scared.
I used to. Well, this is legit though. The contractors are trying to save a little bit of money so they can buy Christmas presents for their family at the end of the year. They're subbing it out to the cheaper contractors who, in fact, have to cheapen up somewhere. And they screw. The end result is the buyer of the home, which it looks like the contractor was at fault, but he's not doing anything but trying to save a nickel. And then the unscrupulous subcontractor's just trying to make a buck to get a job, so he's cutting his prices.
The nickels pile up.
It's piling all over the place.
And then Tony swoops in and saves the day.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing.
It sounds like
I
it.
hear that a lot.
Afterwards.
Now, I'm going to ask a specific question about my house. It's 75 years old, and the bedroom is over the garage. And I think you get an idea what the problem is there. Yep. It's always colder in the wintertime and hotter in the summertime. What do we do?
Drink more.
Well,
Sorry.
That's why we
I want
need
a
to get out
freer,
there.
reduced price on it.
That's why we need to get out there and look at it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, the rooms over the garages, when they finished off the garages, they didn't do full insulation in the floor cavities between the garage and the flooring of your bedroom. So when you have separations and air movement through there, it's not actually working and performing the way that it should. As well as now you probably have 3 walls to the outside, and you're over a garage and an attic space above there. So you have a greater heat loss per square foot into that surface space, and you also have ductwork that's going through unconditioned areas in that space. So we have to see what's going on and what can be improved.
Because when you mentioned cold floors, I mean, I think that rang true with a lot of people listening this morning. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, in your garage, which is your master over the garage, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have that in my family room. My garage, my master bedroom's over the garage. It feels great, comfortable like the rest of the house. The family room does not have a basement under it. It's on a slab. That's like a wind tunnel. When it's 14 degrees out and I'm trying to be Mr. Cheap Pat Coin and I turn the thermostat down to 65, it's like a wind tunnel in my family room. Get the hell out of the way because you're going to get swooped out of there. So I mean, this is
fun to watch.
How do we? I get out of the way. So my kids get swooped out.
That's a YouTube video for you.
So when it's 14 degrees out, it's cold in that room. So how do you do that? You don't insulate underneath the floor.
No, you can't insulate underneath there when you're on grade, but a lot of times, again, your concrete to wood connections, at the framing connections, at the baseboards of your exterior walls can be sealed in properly.
Okay.
A lot of times it's just excess drafting that's coming in. Especially, you're talking about when it's real cold and when there's a greater temperature difference or greater pressure difference outside, it starts moving the warm, buoyant air through the house differently. And what you're replacing with is that cold, dry air that's pulling in from the least path resistance areas, which would be anything where there's air movement can go through it. So at the window trims, door trims, baseboards, from the basement, around your rim joists in the basement, around your outlets that are on outside walls, that's where people always start feeling their drafts.
Yep. Okay.
Because of pressures on the house.
So ice dams fall into your realm of...
Yes. Yep. And you can solve about 85% of the options or causes of ice dams. You can't stop top snow melt. If your garage is unheated or anything else, it's still getting snow melt because of, depending on which way the house is facing or what the temperatures are outside, if we're having real hot days and cold nights, there can always be an option and an opportunity to get some ice or ice dams on a house if everywhere else has it. But
Mm-hmm.
85% of it is from rapid heat loss and air movement getting up into the attic space and melting out the snow quicker and getting down to the eaves and refreezing.
Yeah.
So that we can actually test for and see up front and correct.
Interesting story I learned over the Christmas week. Friend of mine, we were over for Christmas and we were talking about this ice damming stuff because he listened to our show and we mentioned it a few weeks
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
And he says to me, he says, Pat, I literally replaced my bay window in the front of my house that kind of stuck out, a foot, it did a nice angle. He says, I replaced that a few years ago, never had another ice dam or icicles. They used to go all the way to the ground. So the heat was literally going out that window and melting the snow above the window and boom, huge icicles. Now none.
We have the problem. It's the only window on the house that frosts up in the wintertime is the bay window because, like I say, it's an old house and it's never been replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was I learned something very valuable that day because I never would have expected the heat goes out of those old windows and then melts the ice and then makes the icicles.
Yeah, not just going out the windows. A lot of times their headers above them aren't insulated either. So when it got reinstalled and insulated over, it made a big difference above there. And typically they're the last windows to be replaced because they're the most expensive window in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's the only one that hasn't been replaced in our house.
Yeah. You ought to see my slider. I got an 8-foot sliding door. I swear there's a wind coming through there on that family room.
Well, that's
Might
your
wanna take a look.
little fun room, as we found out a couple minutes ago. The YouTube
So,
room.
how long does it take to do an energy audit?
Depending on the
the
style house,
size?
you can be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours for most homes.
That's not bad.
Nope.
Do I have to
come
get out while you do it? Can I stay home?
Don't have to get out. Don't have to make us dinner. We're pretty good along the way.
Just don't get sucked into that giant fan in the front door.
Right, that's true. That's true. The website, again, is trueenergysolutions.com. Tony, why don't you give us your phone number if someone's interested in maybe taking the next step?
Yep, our phone number is 585-248-TRUE. That's 248-8783, and you can contact us at any time.
Fantastic.
Great stuff.
I learned a lot of stuff today about energy, and it's the geothermal heating and the options that are out there. And I may just myself get an energy audit on my home.
I think you're doing yourself a favor if you do it because
Exactly.
clearly it'll pay for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah, one of the things that is there is a limited amount of the free and reduced audits out there. So
Oh,
the
wouldn't you
state
know
has
it.
budgeted up front for
Yeah.
$12,000, and I think we got an approval yesterday that they were on like 918 right now. So we still have this is
918
the
what?
audits that have been approved already.
Okay, and we
So
can do...
We've been about 2 months into there, and it's just catching and rolling through here now. So we probably still have another 4 or 5 months worth of ability to have these paid audits through the Green Jobs, Green New York program.
Is there a better time to do it, winter time now or wait till summer?
Winter time for the homeowners is the best time because it's when through the infrared cameras you can see the biggest temperature contrast in the framing when it's either very hot or very cold outside. So, but for us, that's our main objective is doing the auditing and finding out what's going on, so we can tell what's going on in any home.
Tony, thanks for joining us, man. This has been fantastic. We'll have to have you on again in the when it gets to the warm weather when we can address this issue once again. The website is trueenergysolutions.com. I'll let you give that phone number one more time.
Okay, that's 248-8783.
All right, now it's Saturday morning. Get someone there to take these calls when they come rolling in now like crazy.
Well, our secretary's there sometimes on Saturday, and I'll swing by the office. But if not, by Monday morning, they'll get a return call.
Got the voicemail, of course. All right, Tony Karpovich, thanks for joining us this morning from True Energy Solutions. When we come back, we'll preview next week, and we'll just sort of shoot the breeze here, see what's going on. It's Property Source Radio every Saturday morning right here at Sports Radio 950 ESPN, and, of course, PropertySourceRadio.com.